I have tried not to lose the run of myself here with this TBR, but there are 7 books here. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I am going to take you through the books that I want to get read this autumn. Usually for me, autumn is August, September, October, but this year I'm kind of going to be a little bit more flexible with it and I'm going to give myself a little bit more time to get to these books. Let's take a look at what's on the list. First up is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I admit to having never ever read this book before. I do have some sort of an idea as to what it's about. I have, of course, seen memes, I've heard things. I haven't seen any of the adaptations either. This book is the September pick for the I Should Have Read That book club run by Shannon from 155 Books, Charlotte from Coiny Reads, and Caris from Caris's Corner. I thought this was the absolute perfect opportunity for me to pick up this book finally so that I can go and discuss it with them in their live show, and I cannot wait to finally be able to say I have read a Jane Austen book. Next up is Dear Mrs. Bird by A.J. Pierce. This one I have heard floating around on BookTube so often, and I actually have a copy of the sequel behind me, but not the first book. So I'm going to listen to it as an audiobook from my library, and then if I enjoy it, I have got the sequel already ready to go. This is a historical fiction book. It is set in like the 1940s during the Luftwaffe bombings. And it's set in London and you're following Emmy, who has been looking for a job, and she finds a job as the assistant and as the typist to Mrs. Bird, who is kind of a cantankerous and contrary agony aunt for one of the local newspapers. I've heard really great things about this. I don't want to go too far into reading the plot and seeing what's going to happen to it because I like to go in a little bit more blind, and I'm very excited to see what happens here. Next is The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. This book was sent to me by my dad and he absolutely adored it. So I'm kind of hoping that this is going to be the same thing. It's a thriller book, which I do read, but not super often as much as I would read contemporary romance. But it is a genre that I enjoy, so I have got pretty high hopes for it. It is set on an island off the coast of Scotland. It's at New Year's Eve, and it feels like it's a really great thriller, so it's definitely one that I'm going to try and read in October. Next up is About Us by Sinead Moriarty. Sinead is one of my favourite Irish authors. I've read about 4 or 5 of her books by now, and this is her most recent one that came out in July of this year. It's about 3 couples who go to marriage counselling and relationship therapy and try and kind of come to the bottom of what's going wrong in their marriages or in their relationships at the moment. Again, I haven't read too far into the details, but I am really excited to see if I will love this as much as I've loved Sinead's other work. Next up is Lying in Wait by Liz Nugent. She's without a doubt one of Ireland's best thriller writers, and this is the only one of hers that I haven't read so far. I think this was like her first or second thriller book, and I've had it on my shelves for such a long time. But it feels like now, coming into like autumn and when everything starts getting colder and darker a little bit earlier, this feels like the perfect time to pick this one up. In this book, you're following Lydia, who it seems like she's living the perfect life. She's got a great house. She's in a happy marriage. She's the mother to a wonderful son. But she just goes out and seeks that one thing that's going to make her life perfect, and it ends in murder. Next on the list is 8 Perfect Hours by Leah Lewis. I've read one of Leah's books already before and I completely fell in love with it. So I felt like this would be the great time to pick up her next book, which just came out in the middle of August. In this, you're following Noelle and Sam, whose cars both break down on the motorway and they're stranded there in a snowstorm for about 8 hours. During this time, they start really getting to know each other. They build up a really great rapport. But when the cars are fixed, they just go on their separate ways. Or so they think, because fate has had a hand in trying to get them back together. So those are all of the books that I am planning to get through for this autumn. What books are on your autumn TBR, or which one of these should I start with? Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.